Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Gkioles. Chief, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we've heard throughout the conference so far, our challenges are the growing complexity of our security environment, the declining share of resources for the defense, and our changing strategy to meet the two. In the second part of the presentation on the stealth threat, I will focus on the strategy for countering this emerging threat. Specifically, I will propose options for countering the stealth threat through defense and operational planning within the confines of contemporary fiscal challenges. The scope of the presentation is as depicted on the slide. I will begin with a very short, brief history of the stealth. This is the B-2 Spirit outside the shelter in Palmdale. The year is 1988, and it's the first time that anyone had a chance to see the stealth aircraft without signing a scary non-disclosure agreement like the one Mr. Plesas will have signed. By then, the F-117, the first of its kind, was already 10 years operational. US were the only exploring this technology, as at the time the Soviet Union did not really find utility in stealth aircraft. That changed in 1991. When the Iraqi IADS was dismantled by F-117, immediately what was left of the Russian defense industry started developing counter-stealth technology based on the principles briefed by Lieutenant Colonel Gkioles. Fast forward to 2017, the US, Russia, and China are involved in a stealth aircraft arms race. If we take into account planned JSF exports, the numerous RPA with low observability characteristics, and the retirement of legacy aircraft, stealth technology will take over the skies by 2030, and we will have to be prepared for that. The character of warfare and distribution of power have always been affected by technological innovation. This is the situation at hand. Stealth technology proliferation can have a profound disruptive effect to the balance of power because it's challenging key assumptions that define our military capability. Military capability is based on four main components: force structure, that is numbers, size, composition; technical specification of forces; the extent and quality of military infrastructure; and of course, human capital. For the past few decades, we have enjoyed superiority or parity on all components. We had exclusive access to top-tier technology, and on that assumption, we based our so far successful operational plans. The technological advantage combined with numbers and superior personnel allowed us to control the operational environment. But stealth technology proliferation and fiscal challenges are closing the technological gap and affect the numbers and the infrastructure. The only component we can still claim a clear superiority is human capital. The operational implications of the narrowing gap, combined with an aging fleet, are obvious. Weapon platforms will face the full effect of this problem. The range of attack, the first launch opportunity, and the reaction time will be suppressed by our capability, or to be exact, inability to detect the threat at adequate range. All this could lead to a defensive and reactive stance on the tactical level that's jeopardizing the control of the battlefield on the operational level. In a nutshell, our ability to surprise, take initiative, and provide security for our forces will be challenged. To counter this threat, we will require an agile operational framework for the integrated deployment of air power. Hence, we must address these key areas: a roadmap for procurement of weapon systems that will target maximum integration among the forces and will increase our capability to deter the threat at strategic level; and a paradigm shift in operational planning that will allow us to exploit information age capabilities by means of new concepts of operation. On the subject of strategic deterrence and defense planning, deterrence can come from numbers or technological innovation, or ideally, a combination of both. When it comes to numbers, we currently operate a large amount of assets that lack the capability to effectively counter stealth threats. And given the fiscal reality, replacing all these aircraft with new, better equipped against such threats is unrealistic. So our best option is to leverage the latest innovations in sensor technology, especially radar and infrared sensor track, to upgrade this legacy asset to a level that will allow them to track and destroy stealth threats and integrate with fifth-generation aircraft. A large number of legacy aircraft with the ability to track stealth via multiple sensors and exchange information through tactical data links will allow us to project a valid deterrent during this transitional period. Beyond the strategic level, there is also room for improvement on operational level. It is obvious that we need to adapt to the changing environment and integrate new and old capability into a new operational doctrine. The core incision should be made on how we do command and control. A centralized command, decentralized execution concept is mostly based on lessons learned from the Gulf War and the Balkans. It is solid, but it requires an update to reflect the technological progress made since then. If we continue to use old concept on new equipment, we will probably fail to exploit the full potential of modern technology. Net-centric warfare, as mentioned before, has made it possible to have a coherent common operating picture throughout the command hierarchy. We have unprecedented potential to link operations across all domains and thus achieve an integrated, self-sufficient response to any threat. In line with the core of the centralized execution concept, we are now able to provide the on-scene commander, whether the fighter pilot or the SOF, with superior situation awareness and thus engage him, enable him to rapidly make decisions and influence the mission via interoperable, sustainable, and survivable command and control network supporting centralized command, decentralized execution. Thus, in order to improve reaction times and maintain initiative against stealth threats, we must use more general mission-type orders and then use information technology to monitor the implementation of the details and adjust as necessary the effectiveness of our current assets against stealth and asymmetrical threats. I would also suggest that we consider offsetting technological and numerical inferiority in specific theaters by adopting some of the elements of decentralized command to exploit the human capital superiority. For example, instead of trying to reduce friction in the theater, we should consider following Xun-Ju's advice and create confusion. Chaos created by the use of mass electronic warfare will affect detrimentally those with inferior training. This is exactly the scenario where the human factor will make the difference. Our superior training, the quality of our personnel, and their ability to make valid split-second decisions under pressure will prove decisive against our enemies in such a battlefield, as long as we give them the power of decision. In conclusion, my assessment is that the proliferation of stealth technology among potential hostile entities of the international system constitutes a disruptive development for the status quo, and in order to intercept the onset of instability in our affairs with those nations, we must act swiftly in the direction of reaffirming our ability to deter the threat. To achieve that within the physical constraints of our time, I argued for a paradigm shift in the way we operate, a step towards leveraging net-centric technology to enhance the efficiency of command and control, an increase of the lethality of our existing assets, the delegation of decision-making to the lowest practical level of command, and finally, a new doctrine that will empower decentralized execution and capitalize on the quality of our personnel. Closing, I would like to state my optimism that the landing force will continue to leverage the superior quality of its personnel to maintain the required level of capability. We have proven many times before, and we can do it again. We can think outside the box, and there's no challenge too great for us. Thank you.